And tonight on The Wrap, 6 Muslim American men are arrested for trying to join ISIS. How close did they get? We have the details. Rick Unger gets himself into hot water over comments about Hillary. We have video evidence. And a new Pew poll will have gun owners rejoicing. Stick around for some stunning numbers. We discuss all of that, plus yay or nay and potluck. This is The Daily Wrap, live from New York City. And joining us tonight, as usual, is SiriusXM host, Forbes.com columnist, and the man who taught Jackie Chan martial arts. Is that true?
It's absolutely true.
Good for you.
Bruce Lee also.
What belt are you?
Well, size 30.
Walked right into that one. Next, she is the president of the Philadelphia Eagles Tim Tebow fan club.
Yes.
She is God's pundit. Heather Hansen joins us. And finally, he's not just a rabbi. He's also an award-winning country singer and editor of the Wisdom Daily, Brad Hirschfield. Welcome, y'all.
Good to be here. You know, Kiki Friedman and the Texas Jew Boys?
Yeah.
You're looking at the original Jew Boy.
You're the original Texas Jew Boy.
That's me.
Wow. This is bigger than Ringo getting into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. All right, let's go to the Daily Download. Well, yesterday, the Sunday shows were abuzz over 2016. Now, let me remind you, we are 567 days away from Election Day, so perhaps the analysis is a bit premature, but audience seem to like people like us talking about it. First, eventual frontrunner, Ohio Governor John Kasich was featured on Meet the Press. First question from Chuck Todd, and from me for that matter. John, are you running?
Now, I haven't decided yet, but listen, yesterday I was in South Carolina in the morning, and then I was in New Hampshire in the afternoon. It reminded me of Live Aid. Remember when Phil Collins jetted from England over to Philadelphia?
You're dating yourself with Live Aid, yeah.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, look, all my options are on the table here, and I'm more and more serious, or I wouldn't be doing these things.
See, you worked the lead singer and drummer of Genesis into a soundbite.
How bad can you be?
Exactly.
Yeah.
How bad can you be?
How bad can you be?
Okay, but if he decides to run, this is why.
I have more experience than anybody in the field. I mean, that's really what I have that stands out. I mean, I don't just talk about what I want to do. I can tell people what I've done. I mean, you think about it. I was chairman of the Budget Committee, spent 10 years of my life to balance the budget. And in '97, we got an agreement where we paid down the largest amount of the publicly held debt. We cut the capital gains tax. I was involved in military reform, got one of the best records in the country as a governor. So I don't just talk about things, I'm doing things.
Yep, you're 45th president. So, Rick, as you know, and I try to be shy about this, I kind of like Kasich. All right?
I noticed that.
So, how late is it to declare that you're running? In other words, we got a couple candidates in the field. My fear, because I'm a fan, is that he waits too long and the money goes elsewhere.
You know, there are going to be a couple of governors out there, and I think he's one of them, who are going to try and sneak into the race by going up that special governor's lane. I think you've got Kasich, you've got Mike Pence, who's now a little less likely after his difficult month in Indiana, and probably Christie might fit into there at this point, although Christie had a fabulous week last week. So there is this governor's lane. If nobody else is getting it done, I think Kasich could be a possibility, but I think it's very remote and it's going to be very hard. And I'll give him this. I mean, I'm an Ohioan, and I don't often say nice things about Republicans, but he's done a great job in Ohio.
It's true. I mean, you look at the numbers, Heather, and unemployment is down 45% since he took office. He took an $8 billion deficit, and it's now a $2 billion surplus by cutting taxes. And you can't call him just some sort of guy who favors the rich, because he's taking the surplus and putting it towards social programs. I look at a candidate like that, and I say, there's a winner, yet nobody talks about him. Why?
Well, I think that he's not out there enough. I mean, they're talking about him now. We're talking about him now. I think that people don't know enough about that. I don't think they know enough about him. I think that the fact that I'm reading today some negative stuff about him leads me to think a lot of people are talking about how is he going to say that he wants to repeal Obamacare when he pushed so hard to get the Medicaid expansion in Ohio. So that was a big thing that I was reading today online.
But you're right.
Well, but people like you say that.
Yeah, right.
But people who are so want to repeal Obamacare, that's a real problem for him.
He also has some personality issues. I don't know if any of you saw Face the Nation yesterday, but Steve Latourette, who had been an Ohio congressman, took a real backhanded shot at his old partner there.
Really?
He can be a little rough, and he also, when was pressed, asked what he was waiting for, and he said, well, I'm waiting for a sign from God. Now, listen, I'm a person of faith, so I don't mind hearing that. But what's interesting to me is when politicians start waiting for signs from God, the track record, whatever the party, ain't great. On the other hand, he is a principled pragmatist, and all the reasons you like him, I think he can get in late and get in good still if he wants to.
Maybe you didn't want to use a burning bush analogy because that would be Jeb and it would be a negative comment. And
Nice.
over on Face the Nation, Senator Marco Rubio is asked why he would be a better president than Hillary Clinton.
I believe a Clinton presidency, it would basically be another 4 years of Barack Obama. Up to this point, I've not seen her distinguish herself on a single issue from what the president is doing now. I think that's particularly true on foreign policy. We cannot ignore that she was the Secretary of State during the first 4 years of the Obama presidency and has virtually no meaningful achievement to show for it.
The argument can be made that she was a subpar Secretary of State. The Russian reset, a mess. Benghazi, a disaster. Then there was that whole pulling troops out of Iraq thing that opened the door to ISIS. And then, of course, there's foreign donations to the Clinton Foundation. Not good. Brad, Marco Rubio's chances in 2016.
Look, I think they're very strong. I think his announcement speech is going to stand the test of time. I think he has some challenges because the vision of America he laid out and some of the policies he's advocating for don't always match up. But on Vision for America, I think he's strong and it's going to get stronger.
Rick.
You know, get used to him saying things like that. That's going to be his whole thing.
Heather.
But there's nothing wrong with that thing. I mean, what he says is true. I think that he is a huge opposite to everything that Hillary Clinton stands for. And therefore, I think that he does have a good shot. He's young. He has a lot of energy. He brings something completely different to the table.
Yep, that's all true. I just wonder about gravitas with Mr. Rubio. Anyway, finally, Rick Unger not endearing himself with Clinton supporters after he said this on MSNBC.
I wish I could sit here and say it's been a wonderful week for Hillary Clinton, but it hasn't. You know, all political campaigns are contrived. But the whole point of a good one is to contrive the campaign to not appear contrived. Right. And I don't think I've seen a more contrived appearing campaign ever. It's just been horrible. I think she would have been way better served to come out and really start talking about the issues.
Rick, your place with Democrats right now.
I'm sure they're not thrilled. You know, I know that it got a lot of coverage in conservative media, which I'm not used to, but it's just simply true. It was a very contrived rollout, and as I said, all political campaigns are contrived, but they're contrived not to look contrived. Hers looked very contrived.
That's why we have you here, for your candor. Anyway, coming up next, 6 Muslim American men, and they happen to be American, also arrested in Minnesota. Back with more in a moment.